You know, this story broke about 3 days ago, and instead of reporting on it and giving you my thoughts, I thought it'd be fun to make a top 9 Super Nintendo games that Nintendo Switch needs video, which sounds a lot more fun. So if you haven't heard yet, we could be getting Super Nintendo games on the Nintendo Switch via the online service. For a while now, these NES games have been pretty much less than desirable. There are some good ones from Nintendo, but some of them have people scratching their heads on why they actually chose these ones. And with this new file patent under the FCC for the new Super Nintendo Switch controller, and it's going to be wireless also for the Nintendo Switch, it got me to thinking, what Super Nintendo games does Nintendo Switch online service need? Now when I say need, I mean it's more of what I personally want to see. So since I'm telling you guys what I want to see, my top 9, tell me your top 9 Super Nintendo games that you would like to see on the Nintendo Switch online service.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
So at number 9 we have Mario Paint, an instant classic. Mario Paint was one of those games that you needed an extra accessory for the game to play with. It was a collection of mini games that were insanely fun. Two of them that I most remember was the fly swatting game and the song creation game, two games that are very fun to play. With Nintendo Switch having a touchscreen and motion control, what better game to have on the Nintendo Switch than Mario Paint?
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Number 8 is a game that has a ton of games like it, but none of these games ever gave me the feeling that Raiding Trad does. A scrolling shooter where you're a pilot and you have to fight off these enemies that attack you. You can upgrade your weapons that change the way you shoot. You can even attack multiple enemies at once, drop bombs, and a lot more. It even has multiplayer. It's an instant classic and a game that I love revisiting from time to time.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Number 7 is where things get interesting. At number 7 we have Super Mario RPG The Legend of the Seven Stars. For a while now I've been wanting to see another game like this, a different take on the Mario franchise, and sure, Mario plus Rabbids was kind of like that, but Super Mario RPG is where it's at, and being a huge RPG fan like I've mentioned in a lot of my videos by now, I would love to see this timeless classic make its way to the Nintendo Switch and play it on the go.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Number 6 is Kirbys Superstars, a series of a game that hasn't been really doing too good lately. The recent games, while fun, hasn't really impacted the gaming scene like Zelda Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, and I think revisiting this classic Kirby game would be fun, especially to those who maybe have only been exposed to these new 3D Kirby games.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Number 4 is Super Mario World. This game is a game that is usually on everyone's top list in this kind of category, and for good reason. It has multiple levels that are just top-notch and fun to play. It's usually a game that I think of when I think of the classic Super Mario on the Super Nintendo, and just for fun, why not throw Super Mario All-Stars in there too? There are a ton of good games on there, and it would be perfect for the Nintendo Switch.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Number 3 is a game that's actually getting a remake, and that's Zelda Link to the Past. And what better way to celebrate the release of that game than to have an SNES version added to the Nintendo Switch digital library? It would be cool to see the differences between the games, the graphics, and just the overall story, and what's changed and what stays the same. Not to mention the huge slew of Zelda fans that were made from Breath of the Wild when people hopped onto the Nintendo Switch for that game.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Now, number 2 is a guilty pleasure for me. It's going to surprise you guys, and you'll probably think I'm crazy, but number 2 is Toy Story. So hear me out. Toy Story on the SNES is a fun game to play, in my opinion. I have a lot of memories, especially on the first level with the Toy Box, which is how far I pretty much got as a kid, but when I grow up, I got further into the game. It's a great game, and I have a close connection to it, and I'd love to see it on the Nintendo Switch.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
And at number 1 is Chrono Trigger. Like I said before, I'm a huge RPG fan, and what better game to put on Nintendo Switch than Chrono Trigger for all of us RPG fans? I think this game is probably on everyone's list. The combat is great, the story is great, it has an interesting backstory, it has interesting characters, it just needs to come back into the light. I would honestly love a new Chrono Trigger game for the Nintendo Switch, made specifically for Nintendo Switch, not the digital library. But if we can get the Super Nintendo version, that would be fantastic too. Now I know it's on like other platforms too, and it's on Steam and all these other platforms, but I think playing the original Super Nintendo on Nintendo Switch would just give you that nostalgic feel, especially considering that Super Nintendo controller that they're going to be doing for the Nintendo Switch. So those are my top 9 SNES games I want to see on the Nintendo Switch from Nintendo's online service. But what are yours? Leave them down in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these. If you guys like top 10s, I would love to know in the comment section below, because I'll do more if you want me to. Thanks for watching my video, and have a good one.